I feel great to share the ring with great fighters like him. And if we do it again, it's going to be great. But you know what? I'm glad to share the ring with great fighters. And I'm glad to be here. I already did a lot in boxing. I already accomplished a lot in boxing. My legacy is already there. And I still taking risks because I love boxing. You know, Crawford is a great fighter, skilled fighter. And I get the credit to Crawford, obviously. And I feel great. I still feel the same.
Canelo Álvarez just did something he's never done before in his entire career. After losing to Terence Crawford in September, the Mexican superstar is now asking for a rematch. This is huge, because Canelo has lost fights before, but he never went back to try again. Until now.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just not let me go.
Let's talk about what happened and why this rematch is such a big deal. Back in September, Canelo fought Terence Crawford at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. This was supposed to be the biggest fight of the year, and it really was. Over 70,000 people showed up to watch. Millions more watched it on Netflix. Everyone wanted to see these two champions go head-to-head. Crawford won the fight. The judges all agreed, and it wasn't even close. Crawford became the new undisputed super middleweight champion. He took all of Canelo's belts. For Canelo, this was only his third loss ever in 68 professional fights. He lost to Floyd Mayweather back in 2013, he lost to Dimitri Bivol in 2022, and now he lost to Crawford. But here's what makes this different. After those other two losses, Canelo just moved on. He never asked for a rematch. He never tried to get revenge. This time, though, something changed. Canelo wants that rematch badly. The news came out just recently. A guy named Marcos Villegas, who runs a boxing channel on YouTube, said that Canelo versus Crawford 2 is happening. At first, people didn't believe it. They thought it was just a rumor. But then a big Mexican television company called TV Azteca confirmed it. They said Canelo visited their studio and talked about his plans for next year. He made it very clear. His #1 priority is fighting Crawford again. Canelo told them he is already in talks to make the rematch happen. He even said he wants to pick the right place for the fight. This is serious. Canelo is going after this with everything he's got. Right now, Canelo is recovering from elbow surgery. He had the surgery in October, so he can't train for about a month or two. Before the surgery, he was talking about fighting again in February, but now it looks like the rematch might happen sometime in 2026 instead. So why does Canelo want this rematch so much? Well, losing to Crawford hurt. It hurt his pride, it hurt his legacy. Canelo had been the undisputed champion at super middleweight since 2020. He held those belts for years. Losing them to Crawford, especially to a guy who moved up in weight, was hard to take. Crawford normally fights at much lighter weights. He used to fight at 147 pounds, then he moved up to 154, and then he jumped all the way up to 168 to fight Canelo. That's a huge jump. Most people thought Canelo's size and power would be too much for Crawford, but Crawford proved everyone wrong. During the fight, Crawford showed why he's considered one of the best fighters in the world. He was smart, he was technical, he frustrated Canelo round after round. Canelo tried everything he could think of, but nothing worked. After the fight, Canelo said it himself. He told reporters, "We knew Crawford is a great fighter. I did what I was supposed to do. I tried every way. I tried very hard. He deserves all the credit. I tried my best. I just couldn't figure out his style. He has everything." That's the thing about Crawford. He doesn't have just one great skill. He has everything. He can box, he can punch, he can move, he can switch his stance. He's like a complete package. And at 38 years old, he's still doing it at the highest level. The first fight was close for a while. Canelo did okay in the early rounds, but then in the last 4 rounds, from round 9 to round 12, Canelo got tired. He gassed out. Crawford took over and won those rounds clearly. If Canelo hadn't gotten so tired, maybe the fight would have been different. That's probably what Canelo is thinking about. He knows he has a chance if he can last the full 12 rounds next time. Now, Crawford still has all 4 belts. He's the WBA, IBF, WBO, and WBC champion. His record is 42 wins and 0 losses. But there are some questions about what he'll do next. Does he want a Canelo rematch, or does he want to do something else? Some people think Crawford should move down to middleweight. That's 160 pounds. There's a champion there named Janibek Alimkhanuly. If Crawford beats him, he could become a champion in 6 different weight classes. That would be amazing for his legacy. He could even try to become undisputed at middleweight, too. Roy Jones Jr., who's a Hall of Fame boxer, thinks Crawford should go down to middleweight. He said, "I think he should go down and win a title at 160 and close it off. That's fire." Roy Jones also said that Canelo doesn't need the rematch. He said Canelo has already done so much in his career that he can either take the rematch or just move on. There's also talk that Crawford might fight Jake Paul. Jake Paul's business partner said Crawford accepted an offer to fight Jake after another fighter named Gervonta Davis had some legal problems. So Crawford has options. But here's the thing. The Canelo rematch is the biggest money fight out there. And Canelo still has 2 fights left on his contract with a guy named Turki Al-Sheikh. Turki is a Saudi Arabian businessman who paid for the first fight. He's the one who made it happen. And he has a lot of money to make the rematch happen too. Canelo reportedly made over $100 million for the first fight. Turki actually said it was even more than that. That's a lot of money. And a rematch would probably pay just as much, maybe even more. For Crawford, that's hard to turn down. Even if he wants to chase other goals, that kind of payday doesn't come around often. Not everyone thinks the rematch should happen, though. Some people say Crawford already won clearly. It wasn't a controversial decision. It wasn't close on the scorecards. So why do it again right away? There are other fighters who deserve a shot at Canelo. One of them is David Benavidez. He's been calling out Canelo for years. He's a big, strong fighter at super middleweight. A lot of fans want to see that fight happen. Some people even say Canelo should have fought Benavidez instead of Crawford in the first place. At least if Canelo lost to Benavidez, it would make more sense. Benavidez is bigger and naturally fights at that weight. Losing to Crawford, who moved up so many weight classes, is harder to accept. But Canelo wants his revenge. He wants those belts back. And you have to respect that. It takes guts to go back and face someone who beat you, especially when that person beats you clearly. Let's talk about how this first fight even happened. Crawford had been thinking about fighting Canelo for years. Back in 2015, Crawford went to watch Canelo fight Miguel Cotto. At that time, Crawford was fighting at a much lower weight. He never thought he'd actually fight Canelo one day. They were too far apart. But as the years went by, Crawford kept watching Canelo's fights. In 2021, he watched Canelo knock out a guy named Avni Yildirim. That's when the idea really started growing in his head. By 2023, Crawford was talking to people about making the fight happen. He even met with the president of the WBO and told him he wanted to fight Canelo. The president was shocked. He told Crawford to wait a couple more years, but Crawford said, "I can't wait. I can beat him." Then, about 13 months before the fight actually happened, Crawford talked to Turki Al-Sheikh. He had just won a tough fight and moved up to 154 pounds. Right away, he told Turki he wanted to jump 2 more weight classes and fight Canelo. Turki was confused. He said, "But the weight?" He thought it was crazy. Turki suggested other fighters for Crawford to fight instead, guys like Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Jaron Booch Ennis. Both are young, undefeated stars. Both would have paid well. but Crawford said no to both. He told Turkey, "Boots is not a mega fight. Virgil Ortiz is not a mega fight. This is the tail end of my career. They're going to say you were supposed to win. I want Canelo Álvarez." Crawford wanted the fight he wasn't supposed to win. That's what motivated him. He wanted to prove he could do something nobody expected. And he did it. Turkey finally agreed and made the fight happen. He offered Canelo over $100 million, and Canelo accepted. Crawford didn't ask for any special rules to help him. No weight limits, no rules about how much water Canelo could gain back after weigh-ins. Crawford just wanted the fight straight up. Crawford studied Canelo's recent fights. He noticed that a lot of Canelo's opponents just wanted to survive. They wanted to last 12 rounds and get their payday. Fighters like Jermell Charlo, Jaime Munguia, and Edgar Berlanga all fought not to lose instead of fighting to win. Crawford said they wanted the payday. They didn't want to win the fight. Going the 12 rounds was a victory to them. But Crawford fights to destroy. He doesn't just want to survive, he wants to win. And that's exactly what he did. Now, the question is whether Crawford will agree to the rematch. He doesn't really have a reason to say no. The money will be huge, and if he wins again, it proves the first fight wasn't a fluke. But he also has other goals. Winning a title at middleweight would be historic. Fighting Jake Paul would be a huge spectacle and easy money. For Canelo, this rematch is everything. It's about getting his belts back. It's about proving he can figure out Crawford's style. It's about his legacy and his pride. Another loss would be devastating.
People would start saying he should retire, but if he wins, it changes everything. The rematch is being negotiated right now. They're talking about where it will happen and when. It'll probably be sometime in 2026. Canelo is serious about this. He's never wanted revenge like this before. So, will it happen? Probably. Will Crawford say yes? Most likely. The money is too good, and the fight is too big. Boxing fans would love to see it. The first fight was amazing, and a rematch could be just as good. Canelo wants to run it back with Crawford, and this time, he's coming for those belts. Do you believe a rematch between them is likely to happen? Or is this merely speculation? Share your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for future updates.